Picture this. You're 72. You stroll into the kitchen to grab, well, something. And then, nothing. Total blank. We shrug it off as a senior moment, right? But what if that mental hiccup isn't just about getting older? What if the real culprit is a quiet kind of stress you've been carrying for decades? Stress you've never said out loud. Here's the twist. Researchers are discovering that long-standing, bottled-up worries can leave fingerprints on the brain. Not the big, obvious crises. I'm talking about the slow grind, replaying an old argument, bracing to not be a burden, swallowing disappointment day after day. Those patterns can get so familiar they feel like personality, not pressure. And when scientists track people for years, they see a clear link. The heavier that hidden load, the faster memory seems to slip. First, let's look at the evidence. A recent long-term study followed older Chinese Americans living in Chicago. Instead of just asking, "Are you sad?" or "Have you had major life events?" the team got specific about inner strain. Questions like, "Do you often feel alone with your problems?" or "Do you silently expect the worst?" Then, over several years, they tested how well folks could recall short stories, lists, and everyday details. Think of two lines on a graph. At the start, those lines, people's memory scores, sit almost side by side. But as the years tick by, the line for folks with higher internal distress starts to drift downward faster. Year to year, the gap looks small, almost harmless. Yet, it adds up, the way a dripping faucet doesn't scare you until you see next month's water bill. Let that sink in for a second. Now, how did the researchers nail this down? They didn't rely on a single survey, a single bad week. Participants returned for multiple checkups. That let the team separate a passing slump from a chronic pattern. They also controlled for age, education, and physical health, the usual suspects that muddy the waters. Even after all that, the distress memory link stayed solid. But numbers only tell part of the story. The truly striking bit was the silence around those numbers. Many participants endorsed statements hinting at deep discouragement or isolation, yet almost none had ever talked to a counselor, therapist, or psychiatrist. Some lived with adult children, others saw relatives every weekend. Outwardly, plenty of company. Inwardly, they felt alone. That gap explains why the usual research markers of good support, more family contact, more community events, didn't protect memory. Being at the banquet isn't the same as feeling safe enough to say, "I'm not okay." What seems to matter is whether the distress is named, shared, and taken seriously, including by the person feeling it. So how does this play out in daily life? Picture an older man who keeps misplacing his glasses. Each time, he mutters, "I'm useless now." The self-criticism itself becomes another layer of stress. Or, imagine a woman who lies awake most nights spinning what-if stories about money or caregiving. By morning, she's exhausted, but she tells the doctor, "I'm just a bad sleeper." No meltdown, no big scene, just a mental climate that slowly erodes attention and follow-through. Here's the key point. From the outside, these lives look ordinary. Family dinners, temple visits, neighborhood events. What's hidden are unspoken rules. Don't complain, don't worry the kids, handle it yourself. When those rules stay unchallenged, distress freezes into background noise. And background noise, over the years, can chip away at memory. So what can we do? Think of caring for the mind the way we manage blood pressure or blood sugar. Clinics could start asking, "What thoughts keep you up at night?" Families might treat dad's constant self-blame like a dashboard warning light, not a personality quirk. Communities could try small peer circles or phone check-ins that make it normal to say, "Today felt heavy." Treat this as an invitation, not a verdict. Just like counting steps or tracking blood pressure, we can watch our inner weather. How harshly do we talk to ourselves? How often do we brace for disaster that never comes? Naming these patterns, whether with a friend, a journal, or a professional, turns vague unease into something we can tweak, experiment with, and bit by bit, heal. So here's what we covered today. 1. Hidden long-term stress isn't just a mood issue, it's linked to how quickly memory changes as we age. 2. A Chicago study showed that older adults who felt alone with their worries saw faster memory decline, even when their social calendars looked full. 3. The silence is the danger. If distress stays unspoken, no amount of family dinners can offset it. 4. Practical fix? Start treating mental climate like vital signs. Ask about nightly worries, flag harsh self-talk, and create spaces where not okay is okay to say. If you remember one thing, remember this. Your quiet thoughts have weight. Share them, lighten the load, and you give your future memory a fighting chance. Your brain will thank you tomorrow and years from now.